Alright guys, welcome back to the channel once again, and today's we're going to be talking about endpoint in the fast APIs. So in the previous video we just saw the introduction and all the things. I took you through with the complete documentation. I explained all the topics and all in the fast API and what we're going to be covering into the upcoming next videos. But in this video we're going to be actually going to be writing the code, and then we're going to be looking at each and every topic one by one. So we're going to be starting with the endpoints, the query parameters, and the param in the API endpoints, and also the body parameters, taking the input and throwing the response and all those things we're going to be talking, and also a little bit writing the logic inside the Python. So that's we're going to be exploring and we're going to be doing in this video, and as long as we're going to be covering the topic, so we're going to be moving forward in the fast API. It's going to be a little interesting, so just keep watching this video. So let's get started. So as you can see on my screen right now, the documentation is open. I have just opened the first tab. So what first tab it shows, like it just created one endpoint, like the default root endpoint, and over there it's returning the message hello world over here. So you see the hello world is gonna be coming into your browser console, like browser side, because if you're gonna calling the endpoint from here, otherwise you can receive on the endpoint wherever you make the request. Okay, so this is gonna be coming over there, and you can print over here as well. Like you can just type the print into that and hello world. So let me show you this. I am already running server over here, and I have already explained about this, like how we can run the server in the fast API in the previous video. So that's is happening over here. So I have already running the server. So now I have just created one endpoint, and the function name is hello world, but I'm just gonna be changing it to hello world. Okay, so there it is written root in the documentation, so I'm just writing it over here. So that's how you can print it. Okay, and now let's go to the local host. So if I reload this way, so status true is coming from here, and this is hello world. Let me just correct the spelling of it. So hello world is going to be printing into the server side where my actually this is writing. So if you see over here, so there will somewhere hello world will be printing. So this is coming. Okay, so this is coming in the console. So this is server is running, and this is the you're making the request from the browser. Okay, so that's the one thing. And let's talk about, let's suppose if I pass the param over here. So let's suppose if I pass something like this. So how it's gonna work? It just says detail not found, like the API not found, because this param doesn't exist after the slash. So what you're gonna do? So over here, what you have to do, just go over here, curly braces, and just put ID, and then get the ID over here, put the str. Okay, so it's something like that TypeScript. So you have to define the type of the input parameter, whatever, like whether it's a base model, like whether it's a body parameter or the query parameter or something like this. So you can make it to default as well, like you can just put it like this and call it as a none as well. So it can take a default value, it could be null as well, but it has to be something over there. So we have to make it like this. Okay, so let me just print it over here, what we're going to be passing an ID. So ID going to be printing over here. Also we can return the ID over here, status, like let's suppose comma. Okay, so this is not an object over here, this is a dictionary. So in the Python we call it dictionary, and in the JavaScript we call it object. Okay, so this is the dictionary over here. So that's why whenever you are writing the code, make sure your keys should be like wrapped inside the double quotation. Okay, so over here we comment, we reload this page. So you see the ID is coming, whatever I typed over here, and after that I'm just getting the response ID as well over here. Okay, so now how about if I pass the query parameter into this? So let's suppose I pass q is equal to host. Okay, so like this, and if I type it, so it's not going to be returning anything because the query parameter is always going to be optional. So whether you are taking the input value from there or not, it doesn't matter at all. So okay, so let's go back over here. So make sure whatever you are writing the Python API endpoint, so it gives the priority, like you have to priority to the body. If it's a post API, then body, then after that your param, like whatever the parameter you're passing in the API, and after that query parameter. So it's kind of sequence, it is defined. So that's how it goes. So first it's going to be taking the parameter. If there is no any parameters, it's going to be taking automatically from the query parameters. So now if I'm going to be doing over here, so let's suppose q equals to str. Okay, and now I can print the q over here. Okay, so let's print the q. Okay, so we have defined it over here, we can return it as well. So let's suppose if I type it like the query, like it's printing into the server side. So let's go over here, query equals to q. So this is going to be only first parameter of the query. If you need more parameters, so you just need to initialize all those parameters over here one by one after the query. Let's suppose escape limit, like at the pagination side we pass the numbers, what's your escape number of value, and what is the limit gonna be, like number of rows you want in the response and all those kind of things. So you can pass it in the query like this. So we're going to be looking at one by one. So we are just going through that, and let's type it. So it should work. It's not printing. The q is equal to host. Maybe I have not saved it. So it's printing. Okay, so let me just save it, and yeah, so it's started now. Go over here. So you see query host, the host is coming over here. Now if I pass another parameter over here, so let's suppose I just do sort equals to ASC, like ascending order. So just do it. I get the same response over here because I have the parameter, but actually it's nothing. So now we have to get this sort as well. So just go to sort, and sort equals to gonna be also str, and just in the sort as well over here. So just do sort and equals to sort. Okay, and save it, and let's see. Oh, so it says expected after dictionary key. Oh, okay, so this pipe operator I put over here, so that's wrong. It could be something like this. Okay, now it should be working. So that server has been started. Go here, and then just you see the sort is coming. So that's how you can pass multiple query parameter over here. And let's suppose over here, if I remove the none from here, okay, remove the none from here and save it and start it, and just remove this query host part from here. Okay, so let's see what happens. Yeah, so you see the error is coming because it's not optional, and it's not optional, so that's why it's going to throw you the by default response from the FastAPI. This type is missing, that query q parameter is missing in the query field. So it takes care of the validation part automatically, so you don't have to pass the validation by yourself. So if you want to customize it, you can do that by using the middlewares and all. Otherwise it will give you the by default response like this parameter is missing, so you have to pass it. Okay, so now we have to make the optional. Like let's suppose we want to make any of the parameter optional, so it should not, if it's not available into the request, so still the API should work successfully. Okay, so let's suppose any value is not available, it should work. So right now we have the parameters over here, and let's suppose I remove the short part from here. So let's suppose just remove it, just don't need it. And if I try to put through it, like try to make the request, so it's gonna throw the error over here. So you see message field required. So this is coming from the FastAPI by default. We are not typing any validation message. It's not working. So what we can do for that? So over here, just go and just put it inside the union. Okay, so just go to do this union. Okay, so union we have to import it from typing. So this is kind of, it gives you the type, so what type you want to use, so you can just get it from here. You can import many types inside there, so you go into this typing library and just get the import like into string, union, body, like base models and all, like whatever the models you want to define for your body parameters, and just put none over here, and after that just none, okay, like this, and save it. Server should have been started now. Okay, application startup. And now if I hit the request, so you see sort is coming as null because it's optional now. So by default value gonna be null, and if I pass something over here, sort equals to something, so there's gonna be value coming. So that's the one thing. And you need to make sure one more thing about that. So it works same like a TypeScript over here. Why? Because let's suppose I don't make this value, like I don't make this sort e over here as a optional. I just do like this and then make this as an optional. Okay, q as optional. So union str comma none equals to none. Okay, like this, and go over here and just remove this. First of all, go over here, check. So what error is showing? I just wanted to show this error to you. Parameter without default follows parameter with a default, which means like you cannot pass a parameter which is optional when there is already a parameter after this which is like required. So required parameter cannot be followed by the optional parameter. So always you have to keep the optional parameter after the required parameter. So same kind of TypeScript, if you are making an interface or type, defining a type or interface for an object, so you need to make sure like whatever the required parameters are, those should be on the top, and the parameter which are optional, those should be at the bottom. So that's kind of thing. And now it's going to be working. So if I go, so let's check the server has been started. Server started, and now we make the request. So it's working as it is. So it doesn't matter what the key, which key you are passing forward, like earlier in the object and which is later. But your request is coming in the sequence. Okay, so that's the default validation of the FastAPI which is going on over here. So this is your decorator. Okay, so everything is going inside this one. So whatever the things you're assigning inside this function, it's going inside this decorator, and this decorator, like app.get function, it's validating this all the input parameters. So I hope you guys know about the decorate, what it means. So like into the TypeScript also this decorator, like ctx.context.get request, and then you get the request data over there and then validate it. So that's the param decorator. Okay, so validation things, security things, those kind of things, you can work on it later, but like before that you have to implement the business logic first. So that's you can do that. Okay, now next thing, let's check the body part, how the body works. So go over here in the documentation. I'm going to show you whatever I have shown you. You can just go through with over here. So there are many topics over here. Also, you can use the enums part as well into the parameters. Like if you have to assign the enums, like you have multiple values in that, like you are expecting the values inside that input parameter, so you can just pass it like this. So you can just use this, and then you can assign the enum. So you are expecting only 3 values. One of the 3 value can be instead of this one, no other value than these 3. So it should be validated, so that it's going to be taking care of this one. Okay, so that's the one thing. Okay, query parameter, we've already seen everything over here. So there's like escape and limit, and the optional parameters you can pass like this. Okay, over here, so you've seen over here. Rest of the multiple path and query parameters you can check over here. So the multiple path parameters, the path parameters going to be coming as forward, and after that you're going to be exploring your query parameters. So query parameters coming over here like this. So that's it. And the third topic is request body. So request body, we can go through that. So first you have to import the base model. So Pydantic is the another library that you have to use. So I'm not sure I have installed it or not. Oh, I have already installed it. So you just need to get the Pydantic base model, and then you have to do like class items. So you have to define the item over here. So you just write the class and my model. Inside that you just type your base model. Okay, and after that you can just put your input parameters over here. Then we'll make it capital. Okay, so let's suppose I'm expecting in the body name equals to str. Okay, and or make it none, so like that. And after that name age equals to str or none, and I just want email as well. So email equals to str. So email should be always keep in top. Okay, so email should be always mandatory over here, but the name and address is optional. Okay, so go over here, check this. So this is how you can assign like optional parameter into the body. So that's how you can do that, but the name is not optional over here. So our request is different, this is different. Okay, so we have to do the equals to none as well. So none, like this. So after that it is gonna be these 2 parameters gonna be optional over here. Email is not optional. Okay, now I'm going to be creating another request over here. Def take put, just make it like user. Okay, user, and then body equals to my model. Okay, now just go over here, print body. Okay, and return body. Okay, and add the rate app.post/users. So this request, okay, so this request we're going to be making through the Swagger. Okay, so just go over here, let's check. So there's a syntax error. tr/none equals to, oh, so we need to use the colons, not equals to. So it's a JavaScript thing. I hope you guys can understand. So that's the one thing I'm kind of typing all the time, JavaScript, Python, so it's totally syntax problem. Okay, so we have to put the oblique over here. So the server has been started. Now just go over here, type localhost 8000/docs. Okay, so we got the Swagger and we got our both the APIs over here, but now we're gonna be using the users one and we're gonna making the request. Try it out. Go over here, email is string, so I'm just gonna be passing the email, something like this, @mail.com, and name just like this, and age put 23, and execute. So I hope request should be successful, and we made it. We got the response as it is. Okay, and let's go to the server, check it. So we got in server as well. It's coming over here. So in the server also the values are coming, and also over here in the response we are getting the values. Everything's working fine. So that's how you can do the validation. And let's suppose if I just remove okay, so I remove this email part from here. Okay, so let's just remove this email because this is not optional. Okay, this is required parameter. So if I execute it, so I'm going to be having error over here. So you see missing body email feed required, blah blah blah. Okay, something's good. So we have to pass the email, Control Z. Okay, so email is over there. So let me just remove the name and age part because these things are optional. Still it should work. Okay, so executed over here, JSON encode error. So there's a JSON error. What is the error? Okay, so we have to remove the comma as well. Executed. Okay, so we got it. Null in the response. Everything looks good. Okay, so this is how you can make the body request, and this is it from this video as well. I don't want to make the video longer, so that's why this is it, and that. So you guys can explore the documentation, go through with it, and if you have any question or something. But make sure for the prerequisite you need to know about the Python if you are beginner to this. So at least you know the basic of the Python, like the functions, classes, and the parameters, variables. Okay, so by default this is a dynamic type language, so you don't have to assign any type over here like const where we were doing in the JavaScript. So those kind of things, you don't need any data type over here. You can just write the name, and then yeah, that's it. I think that's good. In the next video we're going to be looking at the middleware part, middleware, and these some of few topics like query parameter models, and in the body we're going to be exploring more like how to take the file as input and all those things. So I hope you guys learned something from this video. I'm going to see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.